Hello everyone, and welcome back to our English listening time, a quiet place where you can relax, breathe slowly, and enjoy English without pressure, tests, or the need to understand every single word you hear today.
Hello Alex, and hello everyone, I am Yuki, and if you are listening right now feeling nervous, tired, or unsure about your English, please know that I feel the same sometimes and you are not alone here.
This podcast is made for people who learn slowly, who need more time, and who may feel shy or unsure, because learning English is not a race, and there is no finish line you must reach quickly.
Yes, here you do not need perfect grammar or fast answers. You only need to listen, relax your shoulders, and allow the sounds of English to gently enter your ears, just like background music.
Today, we want to talk about continuing your English journey in a calm and kind way, especially on days when your energy is low and your confidence feels very small.
Many learners think they must always feel motivated or strong, but I believe it is okay to feel quiet, slow, or uncertain, because these feelings are also part of learning something new.
So please don't worry if you don't understand everything today. Even understanding one idea or one feeling is already enough, and your listening skill is growing quietly in the background.
Let's take this time together, step by step, word by word, and remind ourselves that learning English can be gentle, peaceful, and safe, just like a calm walk at the end of a long day. Sometimes when I study English I do not feel frustrated in a loud way, but in a very quiet way, like sitting on a train after a long day watching the stations pass by, and wondering if I am really moving forward or just staying in the same place.
That feeling is very gentle but very deep, Yuki, and I think many listeners understand it, because quiet struggles are often harder than loud ones, and they can stay with us for a long time without anyone noticing.
When I listen to English I often understand a few words but the rest feels like a soft blur, and I tell myself maybe my English is too slow, or maybe my ears are not good enough for this language.
It is very common to feel that way, especially when you study alone, because without feedback, your mind can easily start creating stories that are not always true.
I also see other people online speaking English smoothly, laughing and answering quickly, and even though I try not to compare myself, a small voice inside me whispers that I am late or behind or doing something wrong.
Comparison can be very quiet too, and it often hides inside simple thoughts, slowly stealing confidence without making much noise.
Some days I sit with my English book or my phone, and instead of feeling excited I feel heavy, like I am carrying a bag that slowly gets heavier every day, even though I keep walking.
Carrying something heavy for a long time can make anyone tired, and feeling tired does not mean you are weak, it only means you have been trying for longer than you realize.
I don't want to stop learning English, but I want to understand if moving slowly, feeling unsure, and having quiet doubts means that I am failing, or if this is simply what learning looks like for someone like me.
Yuki, when you say your learning feels slow, I don't hear a problem, because slow learning often means your mind is taking time to connect ideas carefully, quietly building strong understanding instead of rushing forward and leaving many empty spaces behind.
That sounds kind, Alex, but sometimes I worry that if I am slow, it means I am not talented, and that English is something only fast learners can really enjoy or use confidently.
I understand that fear, but think about how people learn things that last a long time, like cooking a traditional dish or writing beautiful characters, because speed is not the goal there, depth is, and depth always needs time, patience, and repetition.
So you are saying that learning slowly does not mean learning less, but maybe learning in a different and deeper way that is not easy to see from the outside.
Yes, exactly, because fast learning can feel exciting at first, but deep learning stays with you, and when you move slowly, your brain has time to notice patterns, sounds, and meanings, which quietly turn into real understanding instead of short memory.
When you explain it like that, I think about how I remember some simple English phrases very clearly, even though I learned them long ago and very slowly, and they feel natural now without effort.
That is a perfect example, because what feels natural today was once slow and uncertain, and this shows that your learning style is working, even if it does not match the loud, fast progress we often see online.
I feel a little relieved hearing this because maybe my English is not weak or broken, but just growing in a quiet way that takes time to show results.
Yes, Yuki, your English is not late, it is simply deepening, and one day you may realize that what you learned slowly has become something very strong, very stable, and truly yours.
Alex, even if I understand that slow learning is okay, there are many days when I do not feel motivated at all, And on those days, English feels very far away, like something I should do but cannot reach emotionally.
That feeling is very human, Yuki, but motivation is like the weather, it changes often, and if we wait for perfect motivation, we may end up waiting forever without taking any step forward.
So if motivation cannot be trusted, I wonder what can help me continue, especially on ordinary days when nothing feels exciting or special.
On those days, small actions are much stronger than motivation, because they do not ask how you feel, they simply ask you to show up in a very gentle way, even for a short moment.
When you say small actions, do you mean studying in a serious way, or something much simpler that does not feel heavy?
I mean actions so small they feel almost too easy, like listening to one short sentence, reading one message, or repeating one phrase once, because these actions keep the connection alive without creating pressure.
That sounds possible, and maybe less scary because doing one small thing feels kinder than forcing myself to study for a long time when I am already tired.
Exactly, because consistency is not built by strong feelings, but by calm repetition, and even very small actions, when repeated quietly, can slowly create a strong habit.
I like that idea because it means I don't need to feel inspired or confident every day. I only need to keep a small door open so English can stay part of my life. Alex, one thing that often makes me feel discouraged is forgetting, because sometimes I see a word or a sentence and think I studied this before, so why does it feel new again, as if my effort disappeared?
Forgetting can feel painful, but it is actually a normal part of how the brain learns, because your mind is not a simple storage box, it is a living system that is always organizing, moving, and reshaping information.
When you say that, it makes me wonder if forgetting means my English is weak, or if my brain is just not good at keeping languages inside.
Forgetting does not mean weakness, it means your brain is deciding what to keep and how to keep it, and each time you meet the same word again, the connection becomes a little clearer and a little stronger.
I notice that sometimes when I hear a word for the second or third time, I understand it faster than before, even though I thought I had forgotten it completely.
That is because learning often happens in layers, not in a straight line, and what feels like forgetting is often just the space between these layers forming quietly.
So maybe the feeling of forgetting is not a sign to stop, but a sign that my brain is still working, even when I cannot see the results clearly.
Yes, and when you return to English after a break and something feels slightly familiar, that small feeling of recognition is proof that your past effort is still alive inside you.
Hearing this helps me relax, because instead of being afraid of forgetting, I can see it as part of the path, not the end of it. Alex, even when I know the words in my head, I often stay silent because I am afraid that if I speak and make a mistake, people will notice, and that feeling of being noticed makes my chest feel tight.
That fear is very understandable, Yuki, because mistakes feel louder when they come from our own mouth, but in reality, most people are not judging us, they are simply listening, or thinking about their own words.
I think part of the fear comes from wanting to be correct and polite, and when I am not sure, staying quiet feels safer than risking saying something wrong.
Being careful is a beautiful quality, but language grows through movement, and silence, even polite silence, cannot help your English become more flexible or alive.
So when I choose silence, I may feel calm in the moment, but my English does not have a chance to practice walking on its own.
Exactly, and mistakes are not signs of carelessness, they are signs of courage, because speaking with uncertainty means you are willing to step into the unknown.
When you say it like that, I realize that every sentence I speak, even an imperfect one, is a small step away from fear and toward communication.
Yes, and over time, those small steps change how your body feels when you speak, making your voice steadier and your mind calmer.
I like thinking of mistakes not as something to hide, but as quiet proof that I am finally allowing my English to move forward. Alex, sometimes I feel tired not only in my body but also in my mind, and when that happens, I worry that taking a break from English means I am becoming weak or losing my progress.
Feeling tired is a natural response to effort, Yuki, and rest is not a sign of failure, but a sign that your mind needs time to breathe and recover.
It is hard for me to believe that rest can be helpful, because I often hear that stopping, even for a short time, will make everything disappear.
Think about how nature works, because trees do not grow every day in a visible way, and yet they become stronger through seasons of growth and quiet stillness.
So rest is not the same as giving up, but more like pausing so that something inside can continue growing without pressure.
Yes, exactly. When you rest with the intention to return, your learning stays alive, and your mind often connects ideas more clearly when it is calm.
That makes me feel lighter because it means I do not need to push myself every day, but I also do not need to abandon my goal.
Rest, then return, Yuki, and trust that your effort is not lost, it is simply resting with you. Yuki, after talking about effort, rest, and mistakes, I want to ask something gentle. When you think about learning English, what is the quiet reason that lives underneath all the studying?
For me, English is not only a skill, but a way to feel closer to the world, because when I hear another language, I feel there are many lives, thoughts, and stories outside my own daily routine.
That is a beautiful reason, because language is not only about correct sentences, it is about opening small windows to places and people we may never meet in person.
I also think about travel, work, and understanding movies or music, but deeper than that, I want to feel less afraid of the unknown and more comfortable when something is different.
When learning has a purpose like that, progress does not need to be fast, because each small step already connects you to that wider world.
Yes, even understanding one sentence or one feeling in English makes me feel a little more open and a little more confident as a person.
That is why English is not just a subject to finish, it is a bridge you slowly build, piece by piece, toward curiosity, connection, and understanding.
Thinking this way helps me remember why I started, and it makes continuing feel meaningful, even on very quiet days.
Before we finish today, Yuki, I think it is a good moment to slowly look back at what we shared, not as rules to follow, but as gentle reminders you can carry with you.
Yes, when I listen again in my mind, I hear that learning slowly is not a weakness, but a deep and quiet way of understanding that grows stronger with time.
We also talked about how small actions matter more than strong motivation, because even one soft step keeps the path open and reminds English that it still has a place in your life.
And forgetting, which used to scare me, now feels more natural, like part of the process where my brain is preparing space for something to return more clearly later.
We remembered that mistakes are not something to hide from, but signs that you are brave enough to let your English move, even when it feels uncertain.
Rest also became something kinder, not a failure, but a pause that allows learning to continue quietly beneath the surface.
And beyond all of that, we spoke about purpose, about how English is not just words, but a bridge to people, stories, and a wider world.
When I think of these ideas together, I feel calmer, as if my learning does not need to be loud or fast to be real.
So as we come to a close, remember this, you are already moving forward, even on days when the steps are small, and that is more than enough. Before we say goodbye, we would like to leave you with one small and gentle question, something you can think about quietly in your own time.
What is one simple English habit you already have? Maybe listening for a few minutes, writing one word, or just noticing English around you during the day.
If you feel comfortable, you are welcome to share that small habit in the comments, so we can learn from each other in a calm and friendly space.
We read many of the comments, and seeing your quiet efforts reminds us that learning does not need to be loud to be meaningful.
If this time together felt helpful or peaceful, you are always welcome to come back and listen again whenever you need a slow moment.
Subscribing is simply a way to save this space for yourself, so you can return without searching.
Thank you for spending these minutes with us and for choosing to keep going, even in a gentle way.
Take care and remember, your English is growing quietly with you every day.